Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report, and I'm here with Linda today to talk about something I think is really important this time of the year. You know, we talk about the fishing as sort of a letdown period, not for the fish, but for the fishermen. But I think it's real important that we talk about what so many other sportsmen are interested in doing this time of the year. And walking our trails or climbing our mountains is a big deal. And one of the things I was researching before doing this show is what our forest rangers do right now. And they spend so much time trying to save people that have become injured or fallen or whatever on these trails and gone missing. And I wanted Linda to reach out and talk about this too, because this is something you and I, Linda, have talked about an awful lot.
Yes, we have, Don. You're right. And the inclination this time of year is to get out into the woods and on the trails and maybe climb some of our peaks in the Adirondacks. But one of the things that your listeners ought to be aware of is that if they're going to a place to hike or walk, they probably should take advantage of those little boxes that you oftentimes see at the trailheads. And those are designed to find out when a person goes into an area. In other words, you put your name there and the time that you're entering the trail. And your listeners might want to remember that in some of these areas, there isn't cell service. So if they're thinking they can take a phone, which is a great idea to maybe, alert someone
help
where you are, if the phone isn't working, you don't have the opportunity to send a distress signal. So these little boxes at the trailheads are designed to give forest rangers and volunteers who go in searching an indication of the approximate time that a person has entered a trail. Because if people are waiting to see you return and you don't come out, then they need to, issue an alarm to someone to go and find you.
You know, Linda, one of the things that we're constantly stressing through the year in these reports is the importance of safety.
Yes.
And this is safety in its own way, too. You know, I think most of us feel, we can do all kinds of stuff. And we don't realize that walking up these trails isn't just like going on a run or something. A lot of times the grounds are really slippery and people think they're in better shape a lot of times than they are.
Well,
because it's a pretty physical, challenging thing to
yes.
climb up elevation and to traverse over some of the slippery, jagged rocks and so forth.
And the slipperiness, you mentioned that, Dawn, and that's very important because with all the leaves falling, oftentimes they become slick with rain or moisture, and that does double the difficulty of walking a particular trail or a rock face because of all of the vegetable matter, if you will.
Yeah.
That will be there that could make the course that much more difficult.
In summary, I think the most important thing here to think about is New York State is so vast and so beautifully outdoorsy, wondrous. We have so many peaks and so many trails and so many places to see and get out there in the woods and all the things I talk about in fishing, how you sort of absorb some of the stuff that's around you. And that's what this is all about. But I think it's important we realize we've got a whole organization of forest rangers that spend an awful lot of their time rescuing us.
Yes,
and
to keep us safe.
And if we could just try to be a little bit more careful or planful. That's a made-up word, but so we wanted to pass this on to you today because as we were researching forest ranger reports, that's one of the things that stood out, and it really made us think, and we wanted to pass that on to all of you.
And just one final word, if folks want to go for a walk in the woods alone, if they just let someone know where they're going and when they think they might return so that folks not in the area can at least alert safety rescue people if the need arises.
And as you say this, you're staring right at me because I'm always going out by myself and you worry that something's going to happen because because I am all alone and I go through some pretty rough areas and
Yes.
wade through rocky shorelines. And anyway, it's always something, you're intimately concerned about that.
Yes.
And I appreciate this chance that we can warn other people of their own misguidedness. Until next time, folks, this is Don and Linda with the North Country Fishing Report.